All right, we're working our way through chemistry 1128, and you're almost ready to do the checkup on page OP. Let's talk about one thing you need to know before you start. All right, if you'll notice here, on the last two problems, 29 and 30, they are worth 9 points each. Yikes. So let's make sure you know what you're doing before you start. And then secondly, when you do score these, if you get anything wrong, make sure your supervisor or parent looks at your steps compared to the score key, and maybe you could deserve partial credit. I don't think you should get the whole thing wrong if you just had one little step wrong. Now, number 30 here, calculate the change in free energy. Remember, that's the delta G formula. Let's see if I remember it by heart. Delta HF, right? Minus temperature times delta S. So we're going to look these up on the two tables. They do give us the temperature. It's right here, but we have to, don't forget, to convert that to Kelvin. That's the most common mistake. All right, so we talked about that one. I think you should, if you got the problems right on page N, then you shouldn't have any problem with this. And actually, 29 is easier than it looks. When we were doing one like this in the homework, it was really hard. There were a lot of steps. And remember, I told you there's not going to be one on the checkup like this. And that is true. This is actually easier than the one on the checkup. Because the one on the in the homework, the one in the homework, we had to go from a compound plus an element to form another compound. So there were a lot of steps involved. This one, we're forming it from the two elements. So all you have to do is look it up on table 8.1. That's another point. You need to make sure your supervisor knows that you have to be able to use your PACE as reference while you're doing these questions. You're not going to have these memorized, okay? You've got to be able to look at your tables in the text part of the PACE. So you're going to figure out the enthalpy of formation for 88 grams of carbon dioxide. Now, what if they said, find the enthalpy of formation for 1 mole of carbon dioxide? Well, that would be a piece of cake. All you're doing is looking it up on the chart. You just write down the number for 1 mole. So really, the only thing you're having to do here is figure out, if I have 88 grams, how many moles is that? Okay? So you know by now how to figure out how many grams are in a mole of carbon and 2 oxygens, carbon dioxide. Add those together, okay? And then you're going to take the 88 grams and divide by how many grams are in 1 mole. That's your number of moles. Okay, so the table will tell you how much the enthalpy is for 1 mole. And so you're going to just take figure out how many moles you have here, and you can multiply them together, right? Is that pretty easy? Yeah, I don't think you'll find this one to be hard. I just don't remember that we did anything like that in the homework. That's what's so weird, you know? So the one we did in the homework was a lot of steps and was a lot harder than that. And of course, I realize all of these are new terms, so it sounds confusing. But once you realize what we're doing here, I think these two should be hopefully 18 easy points for you. And maybe the hardest part of this checkup will be doing all the fill in the blank and the matching. All right, I hope you do well on this checkup.